Welcome into Pac-12 Preview. I am Michael Caratanudo. Yes, at Diablo00 on Twitter, where you can find me. Comment in here as you're watching. Yes, we are rolling. It is, as you know, NCAA Tournament time, and we've already had a little bit of a shock in the Pac-12. And I'm not going to talk out of both sides of my mouth, although I know Mississippi State couldn't play their way in. ASU could, though. Proves my point. The one team that shouldn't have been on that play, the first four. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. But after yesterday's game with Arizona and Princeton, I'm sure some detractors will sit there and say, well, see, ASU should have. Yeah, there's a few. And looks like the Big Ten had a little bit of struggles too. Little bit. We will get to the tournament. Yes, women's is actually kicking off today. But on the men's side, yes, the news, Arizona, the Wildcats, it is kind of a bummer. I will say that because they had a nice lead on Princeton, and they had a very, very nice lead on Princeton. And they weren't able to close them out. And Princeton battled, and people say, oh, make it ugly. No, Princeton played physical hoops. Princeton did their job, and they beat Arizona. Yeah, I mean, if we look at they beat Arizona. I mean, Arizona 59-55 was the final. I did have Arizona in the Elite Eight. Oh no, I had Arizona in the Final Four in my main bracket. I know I said to you guys I fill out way too many, and I do. I have fun with it. Yes, once ASU is in the Final Four in, I have my Sun Devils winning it just because, you know what? Why not? Every fan of every other team does it. But being objective, look defensively, and I'm going to stick by it. I mean, Arizona, they only gave up 59 points to Princeton. Problem is they only scored 55, a team that normally scores 80. Yes, they average about 80 points a game, did the Wildcats. And I said it, UCLA and Arizona, to me, are some of the best two-way teams in the country. Arizona teams would score on them, but Arizona down low would score quick. And I think the second half of the season, and I talked about that, their defense became what was more complete. I'm not going to say it was terrible. It wasn't terrible in the beginning of the season. I mean, for Tommy Lloyd and the Wildcats, no, absolutely not. But the length, what they can do. And yeah, Kirk Kriisa, second year in a row, banged up. Last year it was his ankle, and he just couldn't it wasn't fully himself. This year the shoulder, so he could move. It was just the shot. And I mean, Tabellis looked really good. Ballo looked good. I know it was just a tough game for Arizona. UCLA in the West, no problem with UNC Asheville as they absolutely crushed them. I get to that. Well, hold on. I'm gonna digress for a second. Arizona State on the first four. I know a lot of you guys watched the first four. So for the 16 seeds, Texas A&M Corpus Christi beat Southeast Missouri, and then they got to go play Alabama and lost 96-75. But Texas A&M Corpus Christi won 75-71. And then the other 16 seed, Fairleigh Dickinson, just crushed Texas Southern 84-61. They will play Purdue today. And that was their reward for getting the 16 seed. The 11 seeds, yes. Pitt beat Mississippi State, who couldn't make a layup in the end, 60-59. Oh, and Arizona State, Mississippi State fans, yeah, I didn't see you coming back at me after the ASU game, considering Arizona State put up 98 points. I'm not saying Nevada's better defensively than Pitt. No. But what I am saying is they put up 98 points, which is the most in a first four. And I want to say the most in the tournament. But it is the most in the first four. 98-73 over Nevada. The Sun Devils will be taking on TCU tonight in the West region. So, yes. But my final four, well, okay. So my final four that I really want to happen is I had Arizona, Marquette, Xavier, and Arizona State. That is what I filled out first once I saw the brackets were in, and I have ASU actually beating. I was going to do Arizona rivalry, but I was too much. I had ASU beating Marquette I have ASU beating Marquette in the championship game, which could still happen. Okay, so you can laugh all you want. Go ahead, laugh away all you want. That is the homer in me, as you all know, here in the for the Pac-12. You all know it, but tell me with the way they play defense that it couldn't happen. Tell me it couldn't happen. Oh, Pensman, you had Arizona Elite Eight and Virginia. Hey, man, Virginia got me too. That really did shock me because, look, we know they grind the pace down. People say make it ugly, Pensman, and I am totally with you. Upset-wise for today, oh, man. All right, I was going to get there, but, hey, I love the interaction. Upset-wise for today, I think that USC and Michigan State are tied at a half of 34. But I took SC. I think if you saw Monday when the brackets came out, I just said SC is gonna beat Michigan State. I said blow them out. I was being a little scorn or annoyed with the Big Ten, and Arizona State situation. But that being said, Pensman, I like USC in that game if you consider it an upset. You know, Grand Canyon, I think will give Gonzaga a game. It's tough for me to pick Grand Canyon because I do love what obviously Mark Few and Gonzaga have done. I think if there is an upset today, God, I'm looking at a few that I picked in some brackets, not all. I think Drake could beat Miami. I really do. That and not just because it's a 5-12 Pensman. I like Drake over Miami. I think Pitt can beat Iowa State. I know the Big 12 had a hell of a year. I know Iowa State did. And then Iona and UConn is interesting to me, Pensman, because yes, Rick Pitino in the tournament. I think the way UConn played all season long, but definitely once the calendar turned to January and even into February, I really love what UConn did in the Big East. I know Marquette won it. Iona, UConn to me would be an upset, but if I'm gonna rank them, I'm gonna say Indiana or Drake over Miami. Sorry, Drake over Miami would be my number one upset. And then, yeah, I don't see Providence beating Kentucky. I know Providence had a good year, but and Kentucky from the first half of the season, Pensman, I could definitely see Providence beating them. But no, I think Montana State, I think, will give K-State a hell of a game too. I skipped that one. But yeah, I say Drake over Miami, and then I would say then I would have to say Iona over UConn would be my number 2. And then Montana State over Kansas State would be 3. And then Grand Canyon over Gonzaga would be 4 for me. And no, TCU is not beating Arizona State tonight. I'm telling you right now, look, I like the way TCU played this year. And look, hats off to the Big 12 because Pensman, you've watched. I know you have. So if the Big 12 and what Kansas did and the fact that they weren't the overall number 1 seed, even though, we all saw what Texas did to them in the Big 12 championship game. I love the way Texas is playing, but no, look, and could it happen? Sure, absolutely. But defensively, Bobby Hurley's team is going to play defense. So, and no team, of course, is hitting all their shots unless they're ASU. No, I'm just kidding. No, we definitely know that. That's been definitely a big, huge hurdle / mountain to climb this year for ASU. But defensively, look, they are going to make TCU struggle and work. And people can say, oh, well, that's such a general statement. No. Okay, is it a general statement? Yes, but if you've seen ASU all season like I have, and most of the whole Pac-12, and that's why I was shocked about Arizona. They're it's like a 4-5. Yeah, Iowa State over Pitt. I mean, again, Pitt. Look, it comes down to and I'm not complaining about officiating because everybody always says, oh, in the tournament, like, certain conferences call it this during the season. In the tournament, it's tighter. Look, play the damn game. Don't let it come down to the refs. Do they blow calls? Yes. And will I complain about a hugely blown call that shouldn't have never been made? Yes, I will be the first to sound the trumpet on that, Pensman. But that being said, the way it's officiated, yes, you can definitely make plays. You can make things happen. It's one of those things where the officials are gonna where the officials don't want to be a part of it, but if they're not going to make the right calls, and me, that'll be me on the other side saying, if you've called it all season, then call it in the tournament because it is a foul. And it's it'll be interesting. Look, the Big 12 to me has, yes, the most depth of any consistent depth of any conference. I will say that. I'm not going to say best because, yes, there were teams in the Big 12 that were absolutely terrible, but they have the most depth and very impressed. Obviously, Kansas, Texas, Kansas State, Iowa State. To me, it's a conference that you look at it and you're like, yeah, there's no way that they shouldn't have a team in the TCU. And again, not ignoring TCU as well. That's there. So, yeah, I mean, the Iowa State game, Iowa State Pitt is interesting. And yeah, those 11 seeds, people say, oh, well, Arizona State, see, they got to play the extra game. And here's the ridiculous thing. This is what I will say. So both, and Pensman, what do you think about this? Because both of Iowa State, or no, sorry, not Iowa State. We're talking Iowa State and Pitt. But Nevada and ASU, they were going to be playing TCU in Denver. And the NCAA always says, oh, first for this and that. So they had to go to Dayton to play the first 4 in, to Ohio to go back to Denver. You have Nevada and ASU. You play the game. Why not play the game in Denver? Obviously, everything's set in Denver. So whoever that is just ridiculous. And no, I will not be using. Wow, you don't like Purdue, do you, Pensman? But no, I will not be using that as an excuse. I just think it's absolutely dumb. And it's always easy to pick on the NCAA. Yes, the NCAA do good things, but they are just the reactive, not proactive, and that's all they are. And they control the tournament, and it is absolutely annoying how two teams in the Western region of the United States are playing in Dayton to come back to Denver. Right. Play the game in Denver. Wherever the teams are going, the two teams that we're playing would be going, play the game in that region. Like doing Dayton a solid. What do you have to do Dayton a solid for? Fine. Host the whole first round there for the Midwest region then. Don't know what to tell you. Absolutely ridiculous and dumb once again by the NCAA. Really, Fairleigh Dickinson over Purdue. Look, Purdue had that slide, my guy, and I am with you on that, man. Purdue definitely had that slide. And Fairleigh Dickinson, yes, they crushed, as I said, Texas Southern. We saw that the other night. I mean, both those games on Wednesday nights, just absolute beatdowns. Of course, Arizona State forks up. That's right. I will be a homer. Gets that. But man, that's, hey, if they do, I agree with you. Ferris picked by 23-5. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, well, the first four shouldn't be in Dayton. ASU shouldn't have been in the first four anyway to have to play. Sorry, not sorry, because and look, Mississippi State that was my point. Mississippi State with their schedule all year. Yes, they did have a few good wins. They went on a stretch where they lost to quote unquote better teams in their conference. So, and ASU had a stretch like that too. I don't disagree. But ASU's overall schedule, what they did on the road, yes, it may have been a half-court heave, but when other teams get that, if a big-time team gets it, we give them so much credit. So they beat Arizona in Tucson. They beat USC in the Pac-12 tournament. They won 2 games in the Pac-12 tournament, and yeah, Arizona blew them out. Arizona ran away with it in the second half. Wasn't an all-game-long thing at all. So, yeah, but yeah, so my final four when I saw ASU got in, just to remind everybody, was Arizona, Marquette, Xavier, and Arizona State. And it's funny because I had Sean Miller, Bobby Hurley there. It's not why I did it. Look, Xavier's playing great. Sean Miller can recruit. He got a big job, his first big job, you could say, at Xavier, all the mess that went down in Arizona. And I've talked about it. I get it. The whole investigation with the, FBI, yet Bill Self, again, glad his health is better. Very happy to hear that. So very happy to hear that. Kansas got a big, easy win yesterday over Howard, 96-68. And it is a happy St. Patty's Day, by the way. I forgot to mention real quick, happy St. Patty's Day. And it is, St. Patrick is 100% Italian. For those of you that don't realize that, look it up. You can see the whole history of St. Patrick, but he's Italian, so I know. But anyway, neither here nor there. Yeah, Kennesaw State. Look, I mean, Pensman, they are losing, right? It is 36-34. There's 2.5 minutes left in the first. Look, Kennesaw State got in. It's their first tournament appearance, I think, since 1980, they said. First tournament appearance since 1980. Or ever. Somebody else was 1980 that was ever. I had so much with the tournament. But either way, it's either the first ever or a very long time. So that being said, of course, they're going to be stoked. And yeah, they're up by 4, 2:21 left to go or 2:20 and counting left to go in the first half. But look, I mean, if Xavier does lose, that would be a shock to me, because in Kennesaw State would play, that'd be crazy. We could have an 11 and a 14, Pensman, because if Pitt does beat Iowa State, which, look, Iowa State should be favored, and I do think Iowa State pulls it out in the end. I said that's just kind of my upset alert. But yeah, I mean, but that was my final four. But if I'm picking, honestly, I still had Arizona. I had Arizona, Kansas State, Houston, and UCLA. in the Final Four, and I had actually, it's crazy because in that one I did have in my one bracket I had an all Pac-12 championship. I had UCLA topping Arizona this time since they seem to rotate. This year. I had UCLA over Arizona. So look, 3 of my Final Four still exist. My champion still exists in the big bracket. But yeah, and look, I mean, Big Ten, yes, great job yesterday. Big Ten, Maryland held on to beat West Virginia, so congratulations. I give Maryland the way they played, and I will say the final month of the season. I mean, they played consistent. They were an 8 seed, but still, I like what Maryland did. So Maryland did beat West Virginia 67-65. What else did we have in the Big Ten yesterday? Well, Purdue plays today. Fairleigh Dickinson. We talked about that. Northwestern. Hey, hats off to Chris Collins. Yes, the son of Doug Collins. Northwestern is in the second round, so they did beat Boise State. They will play UCLA, which, sorry, Northwestern, your road comes to an end there. Who else in the Big Ten? Arkansas beat Illinois. Yes, Arkansas was 8, Illinois was a 9, but still. Penn State, hey, man, they destroyed a team from the Big 12 or from the SEC, pardon me. They destroyed A&M 76-59. They got all the way to the Big Ten championship game, and yes, it was a heck of a run. I mean, Penn State being a 10 seed, I thought they may have been a teeny bit low there, but nonetheless, they destroyed Texas A&M, and now, well, they're staying in the state of Texas as they will take on the Longhorns next. But Penn State, hats off to them, got a win. Indiana plays Kent State today. Should be a win. Auburn did beat Iowa. So, yeah, middle of the road with all those opportunities. We'll see. Glad Auburn beat Iowa. Happy Penn State won for Eric Wilson, as you guys know. But, yeah, I mean, to me, that's just ridiculous. Michigan State is – yeah, they are battling USC right now. Yeah, Penn State – what the heck, man? Penn State absolutely blowing it up. And I will say that it's I hope Duke and UConn. Oh, you have Duke and UConn champion. Yeah, I mean, look, if Duke would have played like this starting in December, and it is a little bit back, we obviously know if Duke would have played like this starting in December, they would have been a number 1 seed. I definitely could see that. Yeah, man, USC and Michigan State. Oh, Michigan State up by 5, 15-43. Look, USC's got to settle down, man. Andy Enfield has to get it done there for him. But, yeah, I mean, for USC, it's that's in. But for Duke, I mean, sorry, yeah, they control the game against Oral Roberts. A lot of people picked Oral Roberts. Thought it could be an upset. Tennessee took care of business. I mean, the Raging Cajuns, man, they were raging. Tennessee held on in the end. I know Tennessee's had, injuries. Obviously, they were the number 1 team in the country in the regular season for a stretch. They've had some injuries, but Bruce Pearl's at Auburn, which Auburn did win. I was thinking of that, but he used to be at Tennessee. Anyway, pardon me. But, yeah, so yeah, I mean, right now you have Michigan State leading over USC. And Baylor and UCSB just got underway, by the way, tied at 2, about 2 minutes in. And yes, so that is all for right now. But Duke crushed Oral Roberts. Yes, Duke did crush Oral Roberts. So, it is a very, very, yeah. I mean, look, it's a tournament. It is a fun time of year, and yes, teams can go until ASU gets eliminated. If they get eliminated, they can be national champs. Hey, an 11 seed could do it. It'll be an uphill battle. I mean, it would be cool. Obviously, a local story, which would be an easy one, everybody to be all about, is that on Sunday, Arizona State could be taking on Grand Canyon. So, I mean, Grand Canyon, Arizona State, Arizona all going to the tournament. NAU almost made it all four teams from Arizona getting in the tournament. But to battle Gonzaga, I mean, if they do get by, like Arizona State beats TCU, if that happens, then chances are you play Gonzaga. You're going to have to play defense, man. And yes, ASU's got some length to definitely play defense and bang around and make it tough for Gonzaga. So, but if Grand Canyon were to get the upset, that would be monumental because, yeah, Gonzaga had a 3 seed. But again, then ASU would still have to go through UCLA, which is the problem in this, in the Elite Eight. So, in the Sweet 16, sorry. In the Sweet 16, they would have to beat UCLA. So it is interesting, but yes, the tournament is here, and and the women's obviously getting started today too. And yes, I filled out those brackets because there was a lot of Pac-12 love to give. Well, that was earned first of all with how they played. I mean, games right now going on right now on the women's side. I thought we had a game. Arizona up 59-51 on West Virginia. The Lady Wildcats, a 7 seed. They are up right now in the third quarter. A game that's got 4 seconds. Oh, look at this. An 8-9 coming down to the wire. There's 4 seconds left, and South Florida is up 59-57 on Marquette. South Florida, the 8 seed, Marquette, the 9 seed. And as of right now, those are the only 2 games. But yeah, and I filled out a ton on this, but my final 4, I have South Carolina taking on Stanford on one side, and then Utah taking on UConn on the other side. And then I had South Carolina beating Utah in the national title game. I have filled out brackets out similar to where Stanford wins it, to where Utah wins it, and to where even the 5 seed from the Pac-12 tournament, Washington State, who got a 5 seed in the tournament, and they play Florida Gulf Coast tomorrow. Washington State opens up. But yeah, I mean, you look at all the Pac-12 matchups, like I said, Arizona right now up by 10 at the end of the third over West Virginia. And then later on today, Stanford, the number 1 seed in the Seattle 4 bracket, is taking on Sacred Heart. And tomorrow, Colorado in that same Seattle 4 bracket will be taking on Montana State? Middle Tennessee State, sorry. Apologies. Yeah, I was going to say that didn't look like the Montana State mascot either. But, so yeah, Colorado will take on Middle Tennessee State tomorrow. And then USC later on today will take on South Dakota State. USC, the 8 seed, South Dakota State, the 9 seed. Utah later on today as well takes on Gardner-Webb, Utah 2 seed. Gardner-Webb, the 15 seed. And then, like I said, tomorrow, Washington State takes on Florida Gulf Coast. Oh, and I missed one. Sorry. I'm like, God, that's one short. UCLA tomorrow, a 4 seed UCLA will take on Sacramento State. So yeah, UCLA, Arizona, both in the Greenville 1 bracket, in the Seattle 4 bracket, both Stanford and Colorado. And then in the Greenville 2 bracket, Washington State and Utah. And then in the Seattle 3 bracket, USC is the only Pac-12 team there. Yeah, so again, 7 Pac-12 teams represented. Again, good chance to get to Elite 8, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, championship game. So it'll be interesting. But South Carolina, they won 38 in a row, kids, and we've seen this story. It is absolutely awesome. Yeah, it is absolutely awesome as they get rolling. So, but the men's side, again, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the 4 number ones, like I did fill out a bracket where all the number ones get to the Final 4. So Alabama, Purdue, Kansas, and Houston. And I had Houston beating Alabama in that one. I just think it's tough. Look, Kansas is good. And with everything Bill Self went through, health-wise, we're glad he's, again, totally happy he is back with the team, able to do healthy enough to do what he can do, live life, obviously. It's just as to repeat in college hoops. I mean, not even because you turn the roster over, but with the transfer portal and everything, yeah, that's tough. So I'm going to step aside real quick. We can get back into switch gears. Going to talk a little spring football. And some people I was able to talk to out at spring practice for ASU, just 2 practices in. And it's, again, the energy's there. Kenny Dillingham, people say 32. He's like, 30, if I'm 32, I better have it. No, but it's not a fake energy. It's a passion. It's a love for, yes, football, but your alma mater, football. And it's been a battle out there. It's been awesome. So we'll step aside, talk a little spring football on the other side here on Pac-12 Preview. Again, don't go too far.
There's a lot to clean up.
All right, sorry about that. Back here on Pac-12 Preview as we are rolling and talking men's and women's tournament. And now a little spring ball, which is, again, very awesome as it is that time of year. I mean, I know UW, Washington, going through spring ball as well. ASU decided with a new coaching staff, and no need to rush it. You got to implement an offing at a new coaching staff. Yes, quite a few new players that have come in, whether recruited, transfer portal. Well, obviously all recruited, but new recruits, I should say, transfer portal, guys coming back, guys coming over, believing in what Coach Dillingham and the staff want to do and can do. And yeah, I mean, it's been quite a few interesting days out there. The offense the first day, I mean, they're doing different the way he's trying to practice. I mean, it is tempo. They are getting work done. I will say that. They are definitely getting work done. And yeah, I mean, it's been quite a few interesting days. Yeah, so they're getting work done, and I'm a big fan of it. And just, certain like one-on-one drills are doing in practice, and like calling it the main event and having guys go one-on-one. It's not just receivers and DBs. I mean, you got linemen, you got running backs and linebackers and stuff. It's just, it's the atmosphere that you want. And all right, well, I will say that you want, but it's atmosphere that, yes, you're learning. You're going to be competitive. You're going to work hard. Now, they're not just sitting out there strolling around. But, yeah, I mean, Coach Dillingham on the mic wanting things a certain way from his team. And, the first day was this past Tuesday. It was nice and, sunny. And then we got some rain on Wednesday. And then they went Thursday yesterday, but they're able to go outside. They didn't have to go into the Dickey Dome. For those of you not familiar, there's a bubble. And yeah, it's one of those things where when you look at it, it's cool that they got to stay outside yesterday. And yeah, there's, a little slippage here and there, but I mean, they looked at the field and the sun was out. Sun's out today. They're going to be going tomorrow at the I want to say they're doing it inside the stadium tomorrow. Or no. Well, either way, tomorrow. They got Saturdays and tomorrow. So it'll be it's just look, and he, like I said, he retained Coach Iguano, which was huge because Coach Iguano became the interim coach last year, as everybody knows, after Coach Edwards was let go. But he's back with the running backs, and it's a group that and you look at it, you're like, who's going to step up? And the way the offense is going to work, but the running backs that Coach Iguano's worked with is awesome. Coach Mons, again, coming from his success at Saguaro, he coaching the tight ends, and I got to talk to him, and I'll actually play some of that or the interview on Monday. Actually, Monday that I got with Coach Mons, and he right before spring ball started. But yeah, I wanted to get these in from spring ball. So first is going to be Kenny Dillingham after the first day of spring practice and talking about, just his thoughts and, well, obviously his thoughts, but like specifically as to, asking him about depth, asking him about players. And I actually got to ask him a little bit about installment and stuff like that. So we're going to see Kenny Dillingham, and this is after Tuesday's spring practice.
But they were excited. They had an intensity about themselves, like you said. But there's a lot of work that obviously we got to clean up as day one.
Kenny, how's the vocal cords out there? You were yelling the entire time. It was fun to watch.
Well, I got a microphone sometimes because my vocal cords get gassed pretty quick.
You ever think about freeing up the other hand and going with the Britney Spears headset?
Negative.
What do you think about how guys handle the tempo, pace, and everything?
I thought they tried to do a good job. I think anytime you put them in this environment that you're going full speed for 35 minutes at a time and put the strain on them, you know it's new. So I think there's a lot of room for growth there. But I think they were trying to do what we asked them to do. We pushed them to a point that they needed to be pushed today.
It seemed like the offense executed pretty well for being the first day in some of your tempo and other segments. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I thought they did a nice job. It just shows the work that the staff's doing, teaching the guys. And defensively, you know, they only have 1.5 calls in. So those calls, the ball should get out fairly quickly based off the call, which is advantage offense. Not much deny the ball defense in right now because it's base downs. So you should see the offense have a little more success on these first 2 days. And then when the pads get on and real football starts, hopefully the defense, you know, battles back there.
As far as setting the tone, what are some objectives you had today?
Just compete. Right, if you notice, we have music playing that tells us to do different sorts of competition because that's really what it's about. We want to compete. We want to have an intensity about ourselves. And our goal today was just own the ball. That means you have to tackle well, the guy with the ball, right? Give effort to tackle well, right? And take care of the football. And I think that's 2 things that we actually did do today.
And then did you, for the one-on-ones when guys were battling each other, you just picked them randomly?
Yeah, I kind of pick it throughout. Oh, jog out the field. I kind of pick it basically based off of who has competed earlier in the day. Right, so I just kind of get a feel for who's in competition with each other earlier in practice and say, okay, if you guys are, you know, talking a little crap and competing earlier, let's do it in front of everybody, right? Because talk is cheap.
A lot of things are designed for efficiency. Going with 2 sevens, using specialists in different roles. How much, obviously a lot of thought goes into that, but kind of like what is the process of kind of figuring out what is the best way to optimize it?
Yeah, I mean, there's hours and hours of work put in. I mean, we even designed certain drills for individual on a certain side of the field because we know the next period is going to be a group or a team drill on the other side of the field right next to it to optimize transition time. So the entire 2 hour, however long that practice operation is definitely orchestrated in all those details.
In terms of the tempo, Sean Aguano tried to instill that when he got instilled as interim head coach. Did you talk to him about that, about the success of moving the pace?
No, I mean, I know what I believe in. Wins games, and that's presenting tempo. That doesn't mean that we're going to snap the ball 80 times a game. I actually don't think that necessarily wins. It means we need to present to the defense that we're going to snap the ball quickly to make them get a call in. And on the contrary, the defense has to be trained to get a call as quickly as possible so we don't give up big plays, because that's why teams' tempo is to get you out of a call and into big plays. So all this is communication. How do we communicate? How do we get into a call on defense? How do we simulate tempo on offense? And then the offense should be able to dictate, do we play fast or slow? With the simulated tempo, the defense should be able to react to the tempo the offense makes.
Is there anybody that you won't have during the spring because of injury?
Not completely. So I don't have a 100% answer there.
How are you?
Energy out there. Your wife said you usually come home on a horse. You just got a lot of energy in the first day, right?
I mean, I'm 32. Everybody talks about it like I'm like 12, so I better have injury, right? I have a little energy about myself, right? I'm young. If I didn't have energy, you know, that'd be part of it.
Do you think that your players feed off of that as well? Is that like why you really want to set that tone of energy?
That's just kind of who I am. So I do believe players feed off of, and their culture is based off of the coaches. You know, the coaches are the leaders. If you expect something out of your player, if you expect them to be in team issued gear, you as a coach better be in team issued gear. If you expect them to be 10 minutes early, you better be 10 minutes early. So I just think that's more, players are looking up to coaches, and if you want them to hit a standard, you have to live that standard as a coach.
Do you wear an Apple Watch or a Fitbit? Do you have any idea?
Oh, I used to, but I never charged it.
What's Thursday's practice going to look like?
Pretty much the same structure. You know, we didn't hit. I think it was in 13 or 17 plays today that we had to cut short just because we weren't quite as efficient as I'd want to be, right? So hopefully we cut that number from 13 or 17, whatever that number was, I can't remember the final period, down to, you know, maybe 7 plays that we don't get. And then the next day, maybe 3 plays we don't get. And then by next week, all the plays that I feel like we should be able to get accomplished in a practice, we should be able to get accomplished if we're efficient.
You don't play about on the field, run off that field, run on that field, right?
That's what we do. I mean, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
And that was Kenny Dillingham. You saw there after day one saying that they went with tempo. There's stuff they didn't get to, but that's the battle he talked. I asked him about after recruiting, and you guys saw it here on Pac-12 Preview, non-shameless plug. But the balance of getting the offense installed and having the players running plays to not the balance, the pace that you can, because yes, you need your offense to understand it. Line, quarterback, line, backs, receivers, everybody getting on that same page. Yes, speed bumps are going to happen. Mistakes are going to happen. But the balance of getting it installed and, moving forward, getting more installed as to keeping it in, he said, and that's what he talked about in the season. So, yeah, the first day, like he said, 13-17, that they didn't get to run. And when the period's over and the horn sounds to do whatever, you're not running one more play. You're not doing it. So when the horn sounds, you're sticking to the time limits of practice, which is good because, look, you want to get to that, but you want to see where you can improve. Pardon me. You want to see where you can improve. So him saying that on day one, and it is that balance. And with the, the defense, like he said there, because I was like, man, the offense is kind of getting a lot, but the defense only really having, like I said, 1.5 calls basically in. The offense should be able to get rid of the ball and do it. And the way he has everybody's, if he's like, you're trying to figure out who the starter is on this and that, he has it broken up in groups. And you heard that was a friend of the program, Chris Cartman, Mr. World Traveler, that asked him about, having people split. And he goes, it's about getting people reps. And if he wants to see certain people or certain groups rep together, somebody from a different group rep together, then he can put them in a different group. So you have the quarterbacks throwing with, 7-on-7, 11-on-11, like doing things with, you see the offensive line, you see, backs, receivers. So it's about getting reps, getting it on film. And for his first spring ball, and not that he always wouldn't do that, from me there being on the inside looking at it, you have to love that. I mean, if you're trying to be like me and figure out, okay, this person, and not after 2 practices, but okay, so this is starting quarterback. This would be, the starting X. Here's your starting, here's your starting line. But on the outside, it's like you see, getting more reps, getting comfortable. Because if somebody has to, any position, come in, somebody comes out, sub in, you've worked with different people. Now you've worked with the same, you'll keep the, a group will go wherever, but yeah, the tempo and everything. So, day 2 though, the defense had a little bit more, and I got to catch up, and this is cool. I got to catch up with Ro Torrance, who transferred last year from Auburn, and Chris Edmonds, who definitely, they both have major roles in the secondary. So we're going to hear from Ro Torrance first after yesterday's practice. Again, the defense got to do a little more, and then we'll hear from Chris Edmonds right after that.
Obviously, last year you transfer in. I know a different coaching staff, but I mean, 2 practices in, the energy's there. How do you feel the first 2 days it went so far?
Man, the first few days has been, up tempo. Like you see the culture change, you feel the change, you feel the energy change. Like you can tell this the place to be. Coach Dillingham got it going in the right direction.
And Coach said he let the defense challenge a little more today within their spring game plan. Challenge a little more today. You guys got a few turnovers. I know it's early, and obviously from your position, communication is huge. But being on the field with the guys, how do you feel? And I know Coach mixing guys up. How do you feel the communication is defensively for you?
I feel like everybody open to change, so it's making it easy. Like everybody open, they knowing that we ain't worked with him all this time. So like when I do get a chance to work with him, I'm open. I know it's gonna be some ups and downs. So like the communication is getting better and better. Everybody getting comfortable playing with each other. The groups is mixing around. So one person ain't staying with one group for too long. Like everybody getting a chance to play with each other and learn each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Speaking of that, the one-on-one battles. Yesterday when he called it out the first time, it was pretty crazy to see offense, defense, one-on-one. Obviously, you've been a part of it, but what do you think of it? How do you like it? And
honestly, me personally, I like the main event. I like when he just stop practicing, all eyes is on me. So I like that. I like when he do that. One-on-ones, both sides compete. I like the competitiveness on both sides. Iron sharpen iron.
And exactly. But the defense beating up on the offense, right?
Uh-huh.
2 days in.
Hey, I was gonna let you say it. I ain't wanna say it, but we all getting better. Everybody helping each other win. That's the goal.
Absolutely. And then, like I said, I mean, I know it's 2 days in, but just sitting and, I mean, with Coach Ward, I mean, leading up to this and what the defense wants to accomplish, how do you feel that you guys have gelled with Coach Ward in this system so far?
Everything falling in place. Coach Ward, he making it simple. Everybody understand what's going on. Everybody getting on the same train. So I feel like we're going to be good on the back end. Coach Ward know what he's talking about. Everybody trusting him. So everybody getting in line. And I see us going in the right direction.
And then I know, obviously, some returners, like I said, like you, I mean, Chris Edmonds, Jordan Clark. How big is it, important is it for the secondary to have that, for leadership-wise, at least, for the defense?
That's very major because, like, we played in games that most people ain't played in. So, like, we got that experience and that leadership that'll help the group. Like, we can tell.
Can I get a second?
Don't know. So when they come to it, like, they'll be ready for it. So with us all played last year and all us came back last year, I feel like they helped the defense even more. Like, it made the defense better already.
And then I know Coach has to mix it up and get everybody, get the quarterbacks reps, but going up against all of them, it's hard to get. I know it's, like I said, 2 days in, but it's hard to get into a rhythm. What are the advantages to that and the challenges to that?
Honestly, like, I don't really pay attention to the quarterback. Like, I don't really look who's throwing the ball. I'm worried about the receiver. That's what I worry about. So, like, I see the quarterback, I see them challenging, like they competing with each other. I do see that when I'm not in a one-on-one rep. I do see them competing. But, like I said, like, I don't really pay attention to that. But when I do see them, I see them compete. I see them all along competing. Everybody want the job. Everybody hungry. So I feel like they're making each other better.
And then overall, lastly, defense, I mean, D-line, linebackers, obviously, like we said, new coaches coming in, a lot of alum coaches. But D-line, linebackers, how do you feel that those groups are looking in front of you so far?
They're improving. They're only getting better and better. We got new guys, new faces filling in, new positions. So I feel like everybody getting better, everybody working. So, the best is yet to come.
Awesome. Can I get a second?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Michael, by the way. Chris, nice to meet you. All right, awesome. So, Chris, I know it's only 2 days. Awesome. Michael, by the way. Chris, nice to meet you. All right, awesome. So, Chris, I know it's only 2 days in, but I mean...
All right, we're going to have to redo the Chris Edmonds one because, unfortunately, I don't know why it shot that way. And I will get to it later. So, but you heard Road Torrance there. We'll get to, like I said, I'll fix it, Chris Edmonds. I'll work my non-magical editing fingers to do that. But yeah, we'll get to Chris Edmonds. We're not going to look at it without being able to rotate it. And I don't know why it did that. But nonetheless, it did do that. So now we heard from Coach Dillingham after day one. Road Torrance talking about what the defense did there, the battles. This is Coach Dillingham after yesterday's practice, day two, and what he thought and, yeah, where the team is going. But he said a little bit more about the defense as well.
Deny the ball defense. You want to pat the football around a little bit. Deny the ball defense in, right? Deny the ball defense. You want to pat the football around a little bit. They got turnovers today, which, I mean, great for us. We got to get turnovers on defense, bad for the offense. So not quite as crisp as I would have liked today too.
I know it's early, but how do you feel, I mean, communication-wise, defensive-wise, communication-wise, how do you feel? I know you're mixing the guys up at all the groups. How do you feel they're getting along on the field?
Yeah, I think they're getting better communicating.
Right.
I mean, our defense is simple and complex at the same time, which means not a lot of calls, but a lot of adjustments. So when you have a lot of adjustments, you got to get on the same call, right? Which means you got to communicate. And what's really hard to do is communicate when you're tired. And we're putting them in positions to be tired, right? When you're tired, it's hard to speak. It's hard to yell. You got to train yourself to communicate through fatigue.
What do you think about Trey Brown? He's obviously knows the defense better than everyone else. He's kind of very vocal and has a presence out there, and the linebackers in general.
No question. He's done a great job coming in and kind of being the guy who knows it already. So he knows 85% of it, right? So he can come in and help get guys lined up and be that communication piece, that coach on the field who's out there.
What about the overall linebacker situation? He's got, kind of thinner maybe a little bit there, numbers-wise, and you have some newcomers and some returning guys.
Yeah, no question. We're a little bit, thinner, like you said there, but those guys are working hard. This system defensively, right, plays with a Mike and a Will, which are played a little bit different. One guy's in more coverage, one guy's more true run stopper, old school Mike, not traditional old school. He still has to cover in today's age of football, but a little more traditional. So I think we're getting better at that spot.
What impresses you most about Tevin White?
I mean, he competes, he smiles every day. I mean, he enjoys it. I think there's something to be said about somebody that comes out here and enjoys the work and enjoys the process. He's obviously big and physical, and everybody can see that, but he puts in the work. And it's easy to be big, physical, and talented. It's hard to be big, physical, and talented and put in the work.
How satisfying is it to see the hurry-up field goal operation go through this early in spring ball?
Yeah, I mean, it just, sense of urgency. You know, that's what it's about, is there a sense of urgency when you're on the field. You know, we have variations in tempo all practice long. We walk through, we jog through, full speed, right? And for those guys to understand the importance, right, of that, and the importance of when something is urgent, we need to move to be able to go from one field to the other field and get it snapped in 15 seconds. I was pretty pleased.
How important is Tevin as a leader for the running back group?
Yeah, it's huge. He's a veteran. He's been here. He knows it, and he's super talented. So it's great for him to step up and try to be the leader.
How will you approach quarterback rep distribution throughout the whole spring? Like, do you plan on all those guys getting a similar kind of amount of reps, or as you sort of evaluate it, you'll make adjustments?
Yeah, I'd say the latter. As we evaluate it, if there's a clear-cut guy who deserves more reps with certain groups. The hard part right now is we're not going ones and twos. It's maroon and gold. So it's really, we want you to get reps with these players, and then the next day you need to get reps with these players for timing purposes. So we're more doing it based off of timing, right, of routes than we are actually ones, twos, threes.
Where are they at from a conditioning, fitness standpoint?
I think Coach Joe did a great job with them. I think football is different when you actually play football as opposed to condition. You know, I've never been at a team that, you know, was ready to practice day one. You can be in great shape. Nobody's ready to practice day one, right? So, I mean, we looked at our GPS numbers yesterday and compared to last year at this time for them, and we had almost 50% more work. It's almost double the amount of work based off their GPS monitors was put into our first practice compared to a year ago. So our guys, impossible to be mentally ready for that until you see it. Today we got a little bit better in that category, only missed 5 reps.
When you say work, is that just energy exerted?
Yeah, this movements, top speeds, accelerations, decelerations, times you push, times you pull. The technology we have nowadays is pretty innovative, and it allows us to monitor all.
Thanks, Coach.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Have a great day.
Can I get a second? Yes, sir. Awesome. Michael, by the way.
All right, so I fixed Edmonds. You heard Kenny Dillingham right there, though. He said only they cut down on the number of plays that they weren't able to get to as per the script. So improvement each day. They gave the defense a little more that day. So that's why he said, you know, a little more of a win for the defense. But the one-on-one drills, man, got some great video there yesterday from that. So it is a process. And you always hear it say things become cliche because they're true. And for Coach Dillingham right there, and again, I'll get to talk to can't wait to talk to Coach Ward. Hopefully you talk to Coach Ward Saturday. But you know, defensively, because you don't know. I mean, yes, I love offense, but offense is fine, but I love, absolutely love defense. So want to talk to Coach Ward more, see what he's thinking. You know, once Saturday ends and week 1 is in the books. So we'll see. We'll see what that happens on tomorrow with that. But that being said, let me get to Chris Edmonds again, back in the secondary along with Ro Torrance, and length, speed. It's a beautiful thing to have in the secondary, and we will. I'll bring you Chris Edmonds.
Chris, nice to meet you. All right, awesome. So, Chris, I know it's only 2 days in, but I mean, Coach Ward, working with him, working with the defense and stuff. And I know Coach Dillingham said the defense got to put a little more pressure on today. But just getting to know Coach Ward, what he wants to do. How comfortable do you feel so far?
I feel very comfortable. Like I've been saying, like Coach Ward is a great teacher. He's a great coach. He really knows how to explain things, and he knows how to get us going as a defense.
Now, the one-on-one battles, I know when it goes to main event, something different this year. Kind of shocked me yesterday, but How do you feel those are going? Do you enjoy that? And is the defense getting better than the offense?
Yeah, the defense, we're definitely getting better, you know what I'm saying? It's great competition. We go out there and compete with our brothers, man. Get a little chippy at times, but that's the fun of the game. And when it gets chippy and you're still able to compete at 100% with your brothers, and we go back in the locker room, we socialize with each other, man. We still brothers.
And then when you look at having, obviously, you're back in the secondary. Yeah, I know it's new coaching staff, but Rowe, Jordan Clark, how big is that for you guys? Even though I know it's a new system, but just to be here, how much does that help kind of calm the group and just lead them through spring?
It's been great because like you said, we're returning most of the guys that really played a lot in the secondary last year. So that experience is still there. And then we bringing in guys like Shamar, we're bringing in guys like X. So we bring guys who have played at high levels at their other schools. So bringing those guys in with the guys that we already have, there's no reason we shouldn't be the best secondary in the Pac-12.
And then when you look at, obviously, the linebackers, I mean, I know you said the D-line out there, I mean, communication-wise, obviously, both sides of the ball is important, but defense especially important. How do you feel? You said, I know it's early, 2 days in, but the communication between like you guys in the secondary and each level has gone so far.
It's going good. You know, of course it has to get better, you know, like you said, first 2 days in. So a little icks here and there, but it's definitely getting better. We're definitely gelling together, learn how to play each other, learn each other's strengths and weaknesses. So it's only going to get better with the more practice we have.
And then I know that you guys saw, obviously, the energy Coach Dillingham had from the press conference on, but 2 days in, I mean, do you guys feel you can match his energy every day?
Yes, for sure. We have to. We have no choice. Coach Dillingham's going to bring the energy, and if we don't match the energy, he's going to make us match energy. So, like, energy is contagious. Even when we step in the building at 6 in the morning with weightlifting and stuff like that, everybody's energy. So we got to keep bringing that from practice 1 to practice 15.
And then, I mean, the quarterbacks wise. So, I mean, as a DB, again, you want to see certain things. Yes, he's got to get all these quarterbacks reps. It's a competition. Does that do anything different for you? Is it a challenge? Does it make it tougher on defense when you're going through 7-on-7 or 11-on-11?
No, not really. You just making sure we got to focus on what we can control. You know, making sure we go out there and just do our job. You know, we can't worry about what they're doing. You know, we have a lot of great quarterbacks in the QB room. I mean, we have a lot of talent in that room, so it's great to go against each different quarterback, get different looks. So I think that's a great thing.
Now, not talking too much trash, but back to the one-on-one drills. You're dominating whoever you're going against, right?
I won one rep, lost one rep today. They gave me a little over route right there. So it was, good route. We'll get it back though next practice. I'm gonna get it back next practice.
Awesome.
And that was Chris Evans. You're the energy from him even after practice, going through all that. And yeah, I think shoulder pads are going to come out on Saturday. So yeah, they go through conditioning practices. Practices, but yeah, you're not going to start full pads right away. Everybody understands that. So I want to say shoulder pads will be Saturday tomorrow. I'll be out there tomorrow. But yeah, Chris Edmonds, Roe Torrance. Yeah, we're going to have a lot more bringing to you here on Pac-12 Preview as I get out to ASU Spring Ball. Going to talk about more spring ball, obviously, on Monday as well. I mean, Washington starting theirs. I think Arizona with theirs. Oregon State, too, I want to say. Yeah, I got a bunch of to get to. But, and the tournament as well. So hopefully, I know some brackets, a lot of people, brackets in Tucson are busted. And again, I'm not laughing at them because I had them in the Final Four as well. I just think that Princeton, again, it's a tough matchup. They're going to grind teams down. So when we look at who Princeton real quick, Princeton's going to be taking on Missouri next. And Missouri beat Utah State 76-65, in their game yesterday. But Princeton, again, they're going to grind you down. They're going to force you off the 3-point line. And, you can take twos. You can take them all day. And if they make more threes, and they're getting to the 3-point line. So we'll see what they can do. I'd love to see Princeton, again, being from Jersey, I'd love to see them beat Mizzou. That'd be awesome. 106 left. I guess I was wrong. Unless USC has a 9-point run in them. With 106 left, Michigan State is beating USC 66-57. And Baylor is only up by 1. 3:06 left in the first, 31-30 over UCSB. And then, Kennesaw State. Look at this. 11:51 left to go in the second half. And Kennesaw State beating Xavier 55-44. So again, there's enough time. We'll see if they can hang on. St. Mary's and VCU underway in the first half, tied up at 6, 14-21 left to go there. That's in the West region. The Kennesaw State Xavier game, that's in the Midwest region. The South region is the one where Baylor was up by 1 over UCSB. And the East region is where Michigan up by 10 with 55 seconds left over USC. So, well, looks like I was wrong on that. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe the Trojans have a little fight on magic. Who knows? But we're going to get out of here. Again, I will see you Monday. Enjoy the tournament this weekend. Enjoy, there's actually a lot of great, spring sports all over in the Pac-12. Baseball, softball, gymnastics. I know ASU's traveling to Utah for championships. Softball's in Stillwater. Oklahoma State having a tournament. They're playing today too. Baseball's in Utah. A lot of great baseball in the Pac-12 anyway. So, there's only 11 schools that have baseball, but still in general in the Pac-12, a lot of great baseball, softball, and we have spring football now in tournament. So enjoy it all. I will see you Monday. Hopefully, still saying, I'll be happy either way. But I will say this: we're gonna get out of here. ASU over TCU, and because of, as always, yes, before we get out of here, forks up.